Hey guys, welcome to the last series of weapon leveling guides. Today we're going to be covering the bow, the musket, the rapier, and the spear. Um, these are all of the dexterity based weapons. Some of them scale secondary off of strength, but the primary of all of them are dexterity. So we're going to go into the bow first. Um, the bow is actually really interesting, primarily because you don't really go for the skills within the first 9 levels or so. Um, there's going to be a lot of the passives that you use just based on how the bow works. So, if you don't know, the bow, when you hit an arrow with a hit somebody with a headshot, it does bonus damage. Early on and throughout the game, you can practically one-shot a lot of these mobs when you're around questing and grinding mobs. So to start off, the first thing we're going to get is going to be aim true. Heavy attacks fly faster and deal 30% more damage. Again, this is just to kind of emphasize the fact that you're going to be doing a lot of headshots and trying to kill mobs before they even know what hit them. Second one, long range, 20% more damage at foes at least 10 meters away. Again, headshots. You're shooting from long range, you're getting them before they even know what hit them. The third point you're going to be putting in is evasive tactics. So dodging, you deal 20% more damage. So right here, you're going to dodge for that 20% more damage for the 5 seconds, and then you're going to be at least 10 meters away for the 20% damage, and then you're going to hit him with a heavy attack for 30% damage, and you're just going to one-shot. So you don't actually need any skills yet as you start progressing. The fourth one is going to be finishing shot. If your target is below 50% health, deal 20% more damage. So this is if you get to a point where you're not one-shotting them, and they're left with a very little amount of health left, because if you're not one-shotting, they're practically dead. This is just going to help you finish them off and get that kill before they actually hit you, which is going to help your survivability a tremendous amount. Then we're going to go into opening strike. Um, Heavy attacks deal 20% more damage to foes with 100% health. So now, again, you're going to dodge, you're going to get that 20% from evasive tactics, you're going to be far away, you're going to do a heavy shot, and the heavy shot's going to do 20%, 30% more damage from aim true, and then another 20% damage when they're at full health. So you're just going to completely kill them right out the bat. If that doesn't help, surprise attack deals 20% extra damage if you haven't damaged for the last 10 seconds. So this is if you're just moving from mob to mob and maybe there's some distance in between, you're going to be able to get a bonus 20% damage. Dash take it. Then we're going to go into bullseye. Uh, Bow critical strike chance increased by 10%. So now you're just going to be critting, hitting harder, and at this point you should be one-shotting these mobs and you should be just completely wiping them out. In PvP, you're going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage as well, as long as you're getting those headshots. A little bit more difficult with a moving target, but nonetheless, if you start hitting them, you're really going to start doing some damage. At this point, we're going to start getting into the skills. So the first skill you're going to take is going to be penetrating shot. You shoot an arrow, 150% weapon damage to pass through targets and continues for 100 meters. So this will shoot through multiple enemies if you are pulling. So you shoot one, goes through, hits the other one. Does a lot of damage, really good ability. And then you're going to take the big damage ability that you're going to be using. It's rapid shot. So it shoots 3 arrows. First 2 do regular weapon damage. The last one does 125 and knocks them back. This is going to be your bread and butter ability, the one you're going to be doing more than often than any other ability that you have. You're going to follow that up with rapid accuracy. If it hits, all 3 arrows hit the same target, you reduce the cooldown by 50%, which is awesome because it's only on a 20-second cooldown, so you drop it to 10 seconds. And then you're going to go final blow, third shot deals an extra 25% damage, so now you're just getting that from 125 to 150. So this ability is your bread and butter. You're going to be using this very often. Lots of damage. Not much more to be said. The next point, recommend you go into concussion. When you land a headshot, deal 20% more damage with a 50% chance to get your arrow back. So now you're just running around, headshotting mobs, killing them in one hit, and you get a 50% chance to get your arrow back. So now it just helps your sustain because, as you know, bow and musket users need ammo. So this is going to help you conserve a lot of ammo moving forward as you go through levels, because the bow is going the higher level you get, the more ammo you're going to end up using because mobs end up having more health. Next, we're going to impale. So if you hit a foe with 100% health, cause 10% slow for 2 seconds. So now if you're hitting them and they don't die, they should be at below 50% health. So you can hit them with, where is it? Finishing shot here. And then they're going to be slowed because they're not dead yet, because you hit them at 100% health. So now you're just slowing them so you can just finish them off. Then we're going to go back over here into Hawkeye. When you land a headshot, you heal yourself for 10% of the damage done. Sustain. Great sustain. You obviously won't need it if you're just walking around headshotting everything, but let's say you don't, or you pull too many, and you get to a point where you're at half health, but there's a few scattered mobs, you just start headshotting them one by one, taking them out. You're going to be healing yourself quite a bit. Speaking of, as you're getting to higher level content at this point, you want to take Evade Shot. Evade Shot is really good because it just gives distance between you and the enemies to help mitigate a lot of the damage on a 15-second cooldown, which is pretty short. And then the next point you're going to take is going to be right into Evasive Knockback. This knocks them back 2 meters and jumps you back 5 meters, so it gives a 7-meter split in between. This is going to help, again, just the distance. Then we're going to go into Dodge and Weave. After you dodge, you gain 10% haste, which is movement speed. So you'll dodge, you gain the movement speed, and you're going to gain the 20% more damage from long range. After that, we're going to go into Archer Speed. Archer Speed gains 10% haste for 5 seconds when you swap to your bow. So the second you move to swap from weapon A to your bow, you get movement speed to help you just gain distance if you need to gain some distance. And also helps for mobility as you're moving through the world. The last point we're going to go into is just going to finish off this, go the distance. Again, just more movement speed as you move back, so you're going to get the distance of the knock them back 2 yards, you're going to jump back 5 yards, so give that 7-yard range, and then you're going to get 15% haste for 5 seconds, which is just going to be movement speed to help you gain more distance. So as you can see, the bow does a tremendous amount of damage, a lot of mobility within this just to make sure you're able to kite and keep the enemies at bay. So you got some slows, you got a lot of movement speed abilities in here, and then you got a lot of damage based on headshots and 100% health and making sure that you're hitting targets before they even know what happens. So this is the recommended leveling build that I have for you guys. I'll leave it on the screen again for a few seconds, and we'll move on to the next weapon. The next weapon we're going to cover is going to be the musket. Similarly to the bow, the musket is going to have some headshot damage multipliers within it as well. The really cool thing about the musket is that it does have a zoom feature in it, which we have a talent in here that gives you an additional zoom, which is really nice. So for starters, we're going to go into an ability unlike the bow. We're going to go right into Power Shot. Which does a good amount of damage. Gives you that 150% weapon damage. We're then going to move right into Initial Engagement. When you hit with it, your attacks are going to deal that 10% damage for 5 seconds, so that Empower buff that we've seen in many other weapons that we're very happy with. We're going to then move into Shooter Stance, so it's going to put you in a shooting stance. You cannot move when you pop this, but the reload time is reduced a tremendous amount, so once you get 3 shots off, that's it. So it's a lot of damage, a lot of quick damage. So as long as you have some range on them, you should be able to get that off pretty easily. Then you're going to want to shoot more. So the stance is from 3 shots to 5 shots. So that just helps you get even more damage off. We're going to then move into First Blood. So this is similar to like the bow. You do some more damage when they're at full health. So this will just help you snipe some some mobs and get them down quickly. We're going to move then into Powder Burn, which does some weapon damage and then just leaves a burn effect for some more weapon damage over 9 seconds. Then we're going to go into Backdraft. So it's going to be an additional 12% damage while the target's on fire. So hit him with Powder Burn, set him on fire, and now you're going to be doing extra damage. So you can go right into a Powder Burn, into a shooter stance, and get those 5 shots off really quickly, and you'll see a sizable amount of damage. After we put the burn on them, we're going to go right into Marksman here. Um, you hit the same target, all other cooldowns are reduced by 25%, which is great because then you can, 15% or 15 seconds rather here, 15 seconds here. So they already have pretty short cooldowns, so getting an extra 25% of cooldowns off if you hit the target 3 times is pretty nice. Just to continue that rotation of the powder burn, power shot, and then going into shooter stance. Next, we're going to get hit your mark. Increase headshot damage and crit damage the further target is from you. Max of 30% at 100 meters. So again, long range, hit the target, do extra damage to them. This is the passive, so it applies to all of your shots. Then we're going to go into heightened precision. When you're aiming, so this is that zoom feature we were talking about, you get a damage increase that stacks up to 10 times. Lots of damage within this. And then the last one, sniper. This is going to give you that extra zoom that I was talking about earlier, where you get that third zoom, mouse wheel up and down to zoom in and out, and allows you to take advantage of all the passives that we had spoken about previously. After you take this sniper, we're going to actually go right into empowering headshot. Pretty self-explanatory. You get empower when you hit somebody in the head with a shot. So extra damage just for getting those headshots. And then we're going to go into called shot, resupply, standard attack headshots, reduce musket cooldowns by 10%. So this on top of marksman here, a lot of cooldown reduction you can get and just continuously firing off a bunch of your abilities. Really helps increase the damage that the musket does. And then bullseye, power shot, headshots reduce the cooldown of power shot by 15%. So cooldown, cooldown, cooldown. Lots of cooldown in this with already short cooldown, so you're gonna be firing off a lot of bullets, doing a lot of damage, using a lot of abilities really quickly. And then we're gonna go into the trapper for some of the passives over here. So the first passive we're gonna go for is Salt on the Wounds. 15% increased damage to targets below 30% health. Just gonna help you finish off anything that was not dead already from previous headshots. Empowering weakness, when you hit a target with an active debuff, triggers empower. So an active debuff could be the burn from Backdraft, so you're just going to get that empower buff from having the dot on them. This is going to be the next one. After dodge, gain haste, increase movement speed. Very similar to what one of the bow abilities, where you dodge and you gain, I believe it's the damage, but you dodge here and you're going to gain some haste. And then we're going to do dodge, you reload the musket once every 6 seconds, which is really, really nice. So you have that ability to just continuously dodge, gain some haste, gain a reload. Very nice synergy between those two. And then lastly, we're just going to go right into back it up. Walking, strafing, movement, speed increased by 10% when enemies within 8 yards. So again, just something to help you get away from any players or mobs that are approaching you. If you don't kill the mob, you have some time to get away and reload. Same thing with players, possibly swap to another weapon or what have you, but just gives you that distance from gaining some more haste on top of being able to dodge and gain even more haste. So that's the musket build. Musket's very fun. Does a lot of damage, as you can see. A lot of synergies with the passives. So I'll go ahead and leave this up on the screen, and I'll do the overlay, and we'll move on to the next weapon. So the next weapon we're going to cover is going to be the Rapier. This weapon is lots of fun, lots of quick attacks. There's a little bit of variance in the beginning of the build based on what abilities you're going to take. So we're going to start off with Flurry, quick 5 thrust attack, nice 16-second cooldown. Um, if you dodge while you're hitting Flurry, you'll cancel it, so it's really nice. And this is where it gets into a little bit of variance. So here you can either go Flourish and Finish, which does some pretty good damage, or you take Evade into Fletch. If you take Flourish and Finish first, you're going to take Evade second. Or third, rather, I'm sorry. This is going to be the third ability. Either way, you're taking Evade. The route that I personally like is taking Evade second, and then Fletch third. Reason for this, taking Fletch over Flourish and Finish, is Fletch has a nice 10-meter dash to it, and one of the first passive we're going to take, which is going to be one of the last points we take, is going to reduce its cooldown a tremendous amount. However, this ability just for movement, again, this is for leveling. This is for making sure you're able to traverse the terrain as quickly as possible in addition to killing mobs. So we want that movement ability just to help us get from quest to quest, from mob to mob, and Fletch offers that. So I like going Flurry to Evade to Fletch. After that, we're going to go in Guard. On Guard is 10% more damage when they have 50% greater health, so kind of the opposite of the other couple weapons we went over previously, where you're going to deal more damage with more health that they have. We're next going to go into Overwhelm, so each hit of Flurry is going to do 25% more block damage, so it just helps break through any kind of blocking that might be happening. Then we're going to go to Fleeting Strikes. Each hit reduces the cooldown by 7%, so it just gives you more opportunity to use your Flurry ability. Obviously, as we talked before, cooldown is very important. After you do those two passives, you're going to go right into Evade. Evade is going to be the bulk of your damage once you start building it up. So the first one we're going to go in is Breathe In, 20 stamina immediately on case of Evade. Then Allegro, which is 20% movement speed for 3 seconds after casting. Then we're going to go Adagio. Evade forwards gains 15% increased damage on your next light attack. So seeing a little bit some movement speed within this, and some damage with giving you increased damage. And then Crescendo. And then the light attacks reduce the cooldown of Evade by 30% each. So while you're doing this, 6-second cooldown. So you're going to hit Evade. You're going to do a couple of light attacks. They happen very fast. You're going to be reducing the cooldown because of Crescendo. You're going to be increasing your damage of the light attacks. And then 30% each on a 6-second cooldown makes this ability up very often. So this ability you're going to be pretty much using the majority of the time while weaving in flurries and then finishing off with Fletch as you move to the next pack. Then we're going to go Desperation. Desperation is 10% more damage when your stamina is below 40%. So as you're losing stamina, you're just going to gain more damage, and with all the dodging you're going to be doing, you're going to be utilizing some of the damage to get some quick attacks off. Then we're going to go into Perfectionist. You deal 10% more damage when your health is full. So this just gives you, that much more damage as you move around and keep yourself going, and you'll probably be able to kill things with between Evade, Flurry, and then Fletch before they actually hit you because you'll be attacking so fast. Then we're going to go to Red Curtains. Critical strikes reduce all cooldowns by 5%. Very self-explanatory, just a nice cooldown. And then Swiftness. So 3% haste for 4 seconds on any hit, stacking up to 5 times. So this is where the Rapier does a lot of movement ability, a lot of dodging and running around and dashing, and it's very, very fun gameplay. And then we're going to go into controlled breathing. So you gain 3 stamina on any hit. So remember we talked about the desperation, um, utilizing your stamina bar and using it up often with this build. So this is just going to help you kind of maintain that and keep going as you're attacking more and more enemies. We're going to move all the way down to momentum, where we gain 25% increased damage on your next light or heavy attack after performing an ability, ends after on hit or 3 seconds. So after performing an ability, so remember how evade is a 6-second cooldown. That's considered an ability. With that 30% from crescendo of cooldown reduction on evade, every time you hit, spamming evade, you're just going to get a whole bunch of 25% damage increases from momentum very often. So as you can see, this is a very fast playstyle, very fun playstyle, as I mentioned. Then we're going to go into light edge. Increased damage from both middle swipe attacks in the light attack chain. So there's going to be an attack chain that you have with the rapier that the 2 attacks in the middle are going to just have higher damage than the others. And then we're going to go to refreshing strikes, reduce all cooldowns by 1% on any hit. So as we hit, we're going to be reducing the cooldown of evade even more, which gives us more momentums, which again, there's just cooldown everywhere, bunch of movement speed. And then the last point, we're going to go into quick lunge, which killing with Fletch reduces its cooldown by 80%. So that's what I was saying before. Finish off the mobs with Fletch, you kind of dart through them 10 meters and can move on to the next one. And if you kill them with this, you get that 80% cooldown, so it'll be up very soon again to kind of continue moving from pack to pack or through distance if you're leaving that area. The other ones I will mention if you do not take Fletch or Quick Lunge is you will take Flourish and Finish, as I mentioned before. This does a lot of damage. When you hit it, you press a light attack at the end of the Flourish, and you'll do the Finish, which does extra damage. And then you take this one as your second one, which you gain Grit on both Flourish and Finish, where the attack itself cannot be interrupted. So I personally, like I said, I like Fletch and Quick Lunge. It just played out a lot more smoothly for me. So this is the build that I would recommend. I will put a screenshot over this as well to just kind of show you the order again. So we'll move on to the next weapon. Okay, last weapon we're going to cover is going to be the spear. The spear is a very strong weapon. You get a lot of use out of it. A lot of control, a lot of damage. So first ability we're going to grab a skewer. Applies a bleed, does some weapon damage. Um, Strong ability, no complaints there. Perforate is a great ability because it applies the rend debuff. The rend debuff is going to increase the damage that the target takes by 5%. So big plus there. We're going to then move into Deadly Ambush, so 20% damage against targets that have full health. Just pretty self-explanatory. And then Follow Through, you gain that Empower on critical hits, increasing damage by 20% for 10 seconds. So once you crit the Skewer, you're going to gain that Empower buff, and you got 10 seconds of just added damage. After that, we're going to go back into Perforate, which is going to increase the rend damage from 5% to 10% against targets that are above 50% health, which just excellent because this also applies to a group if you're in one. And then we're going to go into Impactful Strikes, which the target gets staggered if you land all 3 hits. So land all 3 hits, you put on the debuff, you stagger them, does great damage, and you got a little bit of CC in there. Next point we're going to take is Aggressive Maneuvers. The first successful hit with an ability within 2 seconds of dodging reduces all spear cooldowns by 20%. So dodge, ability, you're going to be getting all of your cooldowns up for the spear. Next point we're going to go into is going to be deadly consistency. This just increases the damage of your heavy attacks on a single target. Not much more to go into there. Sweep sweeps a target, knocks them down, does a little bit of weapon damage. Um, the strength of this ability comes into the last passive, so we're actually going to go right down to it. So Tenacious Sweep makes it so you can't be interrupted. You gain that crit debuff, so just uninterruptible. You're going to get your sweep off regardless. And then Coup de Grace, which is your light attack, is going to stab the target for 125% damage. So this 75% weapon damage that's kind of meh turns into another 125, which is actually a lot of damage, plus you're knocking them down. So it's just a lot of extra damage that you're going to be gaining from that. We're then going to move into Refreshing Jab, so all spear cooldowns are reduced by 10% on the second hit of the light chain attack. Get your quick attacks off from light attacks, and you reduce the cooldown. It's a very strong passive. Cooldown is great, as we've always discussed. Precise Jab is going to be next, so just critical chance on light attacks. You know, just crit. Next passive is Finishing Blows. 15% damage against targets with less than 30% health. That's just extra damage on targets to help you finish them off. And then we're going to get Exploited Weakness, which is 10% damage per debuff on the target of a max of 30%, so 3 debuffs max. This actually gives you a lot of 30% damage just for having debuffs on them is pretty significant. The next point we're going to is Refreshing Reach. Refreshing Reach is great because now you have heavy attacks, which are doing extra damage because of deadly consistency, are going to reduce all spear cooldowns by 15%. So now you just get more cooldown off either heavy or light attacks. Then we're going to go into Invigorating Crits, so you just gain 20 stamina on crits. You're going to need that stamina because you're going to be dodging to get the cooldown of 20% from aggressive maneuvers, so gaining more stamina just on your attacks is going to be huge for getting all these abilities back up and ready to go. Then we're going to go to Merciless Strength, 25% damage against knockdown targets, so this completely just synergizes with the sweep. You're going to knock them down on a 10-second cooldown, you're going to hit them with the Coup de Grace, you're going to be able to dodge an attack, get 20% cooldown there, you have your heavy attacks cooldown to get this back up to be able to hit them again while you're preferring to keep the Ren buff up to just increase your damage more. It's just a great synergy between the spear and its passives and active abilities. And then last, you'll take Strong Conditioning, which is 30% stamina regen when your stamina is below 50%. This is just going to help you continue that dodge chain that we just spoke of with the 20% cooldown reduction. Yeah, spear is a great weapon. You're going to see a lot of spear users. If you are playing anything with decks, like the bow, recommend the spear, simply because if something gets too close to you, you can sweep, dodge away, and then use all the bow's movement abilities. So that is the spear. I will leave this up on the screen for you to screenshot. I will also put that overlay to show you which order we went in for each level of the weapon. That's going to do it for my weapons leveling guide series. If you missed a weapon that you are going to be playing or interested in, please check my channel. You'll see all the videos there. If you do like this content, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. Also, check the description for my Twitch, my Twitter, and my Discord to be notified when a new video is popped up as well, or when I go live streaming, which I will be at launch. Until then, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.